My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of The Silence of the Lambs. And this will be a spoiler-filled review, so if you haven't seen it, what are you doing? What have you been doing? Go! Watch it immediately, then come back and watch this review. This movie is a masterpiece. I rewatched it last night, and you just get reminded of how perfect it is in every single aspect. It reminds you why I love movies. And Jodie Foster gives the performance of her career here. She is so fantastic. The character Clarice is so well written. She's hardworking, she's determined, but she's still a trainee trying to find a place in this career. And she just pulls it off so flawlessly. There's a moment near the end of this movie where she reaches for the gun, but she fumbles a bit, and that brings a certain vulnerability to her. But then you also get these moments where this room is filled with agents and she's trying to get them to leave in the most polite manner, and she takes control of the situation, and she just feels like a real human. And Jodie Foster just, even though everybody knows she's great in this movie, I still feel like she doesn't get the credit she deserves because she's overshadowed by her co-star, which I get, but still, just phenomenal job. And speaking of her co-star, Anthony Hopkins, it's like he's incredible in this movie as well. He's only in it for like 15 minutes apparently, but it feels so much longer because he just has that level of presence to him. He's this evil, menacing psychopath, but I also find it fascinating how he's genuinely polite to Clarice in certain moments, and how he's trying to push her in the right direction to solve this case. It just makes the relationship between the two of them very unique, very engaging, and Anthony Hopkins plays it up to perfection. And you've also got Scott Glenn as Jack Crawford, who does a really good job. You've got Anthony Heald, I think he's good. But the other great performance in this movie is Ted Levine. He's not in this movie a lot, but you just get a sense of how evil and messed up this guy is in such a small amount of screen time. He's overly flamboyant, but he also has a very deep voice, so there's just something off about him. And yeah, well, job well done to him. And it's just a fantastic serial killer movie. It's driven by character, and the mystery is actually engaging. I was on the edge of my seat, even though I knew how it ended. And it ends on a very strong note. The entire last act is just perfection. Just the way the FBI is raiding the house, and it cuts to Buffalo Bill in the basement, and you think they got him, and the doorbell rings, and he goes on up, and it's Clarice. Just incredible stuff, though. And you just got that shot beforehand where you gain a sense of just how alone she is out there with him. And as she just starts to pick up on the clues, the sewing machine, the moth, and then he can't hold back his giggles. It's a super tense moment, only then followed by an even more tense moment where she's looking for him and she's kicking down every door, looking every room, and she's closing up doors to making sure he doesn't come in behind her. And you're just like, I didn't breathe this entire moment. I was holding my breath. I was so locked in. And then the lights go out and you've got the POV of the night vision goggles, and you feel so hopeless for her as she stumbles and trying to feel her way around. And it seems like she might actually die. He takes out the gun, aims it at her, and she hears it just in time to get out of the way and shoot him, and then the light comes in. Oh my god! What a moment! What a fucking moment. And I know this movie didn't have this in mind when they made it, but it just kind of highlights how different it was back then compared to now with cell phones. Because if she had a cell phone, she could have just called someone and it wouldn't be the same level of tense. But there's also this other moment early on where she's going into a storage space, and right before she goes in, she gives this one guy the number in case she gets locked in, because if she gets locked in, she won't be able to get out. And it just makes this movie all the more compelling. I know they didn't have that in mind, but there was a certain human, hopeless aspect to it that I adore. And even though this movie, it isn't as graphic as I remember it being, but man, it is still effective and brutal in moments. Like the entire sequence where Hannibal escapes prison, phenomenal. Messed up, twisted, but also brilliant. And if that doesn't describe Hannibal, then what does? And I do want to mention that I love the last line, "I'm having an old friend for dinner." We just don't get lines like that anymore. Because it works in two ways, and he's a cannibal and just brilliant. And this movie is just so brilliantly directed by Jonathan Demme. He elevates this movie every opportunity. It's great to begin with, but it's one of those movies that progressively gets better and better. And I thought the music by Howard Shore was definitely effective when used. And the cinematography is incredible as well. So this is just a perfectly made movie in every single aspect. You've got fantastic characters with amazing performances behind them. I think the relationship between Hannibal and Clarice is so fascinating, and how he always takes control of the situation, how he always gets the information he wants, and how he is genuinely trying to push Clarice to solving the case. It's just something very unique and very effective here. And then you've got a great villain in Buffalo Bill. You've got yourself a great engaging mystery with moments of brutality. So many iconic moments. Just the prison escape, fantastic. The last act, just super tense. The direction is top notch. Just everything about this movie is, I've said it already, but it's perfect. I love it. It's one of my favorite movies ever made. And I'm going to go ahead and give The Silence of the Lambs a 9 out of 10. Okay, have you seen The Silence of the Lambs? What did you think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Stay tuned for some more videos soon. And Gavin out.